Game of Thrones has had some amazing seasons over the course of the show, with some equally incredible episodes. This video, we are going to be ranking my top 10 Game of Thrones episodes in order from 10 to 1. It was actually so hard for me to decide on a top 10, so I've decided to pick 13 and leave 3 of them in the honourable mention category. Like always, this is my opinion. I can just see the comments now. Why on earth did you put The Long Night in the top 5 episodes? But shut up, this is my list. If it bothers you that much, then go down there, leave your own rankings down in the comments section below. Before we get into this video, please leave a like and subscribe and all that shiz, it really does actually help out. Without further ado, Honourable Mention 1. The Lion and the Rose. Honestly, what else do I have to say other than we get to see this evil, psychotic, inbred gremlin get sent straight to the afterlife in this traumatizing but such a funny scene. Wait! The episode kicks off with Ramsay being a complete sociopath, like always.
If you make it out of the woods, you win! Run, Dazzy!
There are so many great scenes within this episode, from the training of Jaime and Bronn to the burning of Stannis' men, finishing it all off with, like we said earlier, the death of one of the most hated characters in the history of television, and Jack Gleeson's acting talent in this entire episode, like always, is absolutely amazing. Honourable Mention 2. Season 5, Episode 8. Hardhome. Many of you have probably already jumped straight to the comments section, writing comments like, wow, this guy's putting Hardhome not even in the top 10. Unsubscribed. Well, first off, fuck you. And second, if you actually go back and watch the episode, yes, the battle at the before mentioned Hardhome is one of the best in the whole of the show. However, the rest of the episode is mediocre at best. And like the rest of Season 5, not a lot actually happens in this episode. This, of course, doesn't take it away from still being one of the best episodes, as it still managed to reach number 12 on this list. The one-on-one fight scene between Jon and the White Walker is amazing, and something we should have definitely seen a lot more of in the Battle of Winterfell in Season 8. And that final shot of the Night King raising the dead as Jon and his gang row away is absolute perfection. Honourable Mention 3. Season 1, Episode 5. The Wolf and the Lion. This episode is just all around one of the first truly S-tier episodes the show gives to us. Big Bobby B and Ned give us a great comedic duo together as always, with lines like,
"You're too fat for your armour."
Is that how you speak to your king?
Like, before this episode, I never realised how much fun Robert's character actually is.
Go find the breastplate stretcher! Now!
And funny story, my dad actually went to school with Mark Addy, the guy who plays him. Like, that is mad to me.
It's not a brag.
This episode also gives us 3 of the best action scenes within Season 1. The opening battle between Loras Tyrell and the Mountain, the battle with the Hill Tribes, and the episode is capped off with an outstanding duel between House Stark and Lannister. The choreography of this first proper fight between Eddard and Jaime is incredible and heavily cements this episode as one of the best Game of Thrones has to offer. Now that the honourable mentions are finished, let's start the list off at number 10, Baelor. The 9th episode in Season 1 is a complete rollercoaster of emotions from start to finish, and gives us viewers a sense of what they are in store for in the world of Westeros. Not going to lie, when I first watched this episode, at every single moment I was expecting Ned to be saved in some way, or somehow he survived.
Bring me his head.
But the fact that they opted to kill off the main character of the show at the time was a complete curveball, and was definitely the best decision David and Dan could have made. The episode starts off with a truly amazing conversation between Eddard and Varys.
I want you to serve the realm and proclaim Joffrey as the true heir.
Jon gets his Valyrian steel sword Longclaw, and Catelyn tries to get this slimy little bitch to open his gates for Robb. This episode again has a great fight scene between Jorah and the Dothraki Blood Rider, and we get the first battle of the show. However, due to the budget at the time, we don't exactly see any of the fight.
Did we win? We wouldn't be having this conversation if we didn't.
And we find out that it was all just a massive distraction from the Starks to kidnap Jaime Lannister. Baelor ends with one of the most impactful deaths of the series, as it basically starts the War of the Five Kings and in some way starts every single storyline that the show has in future. Number 9. Laws of Gods and Men. We all know how this episode ends with Tyrion Lannister's trial, which could be one of the greatest acted scenes in the history of the show.
I did not kill Joffrey, but I wish that I had.
However, this episode is way more than just this one court scene. We get Yara trying to save Theon from Ramsay and just this guy.
This is turning into a lovely evening.
Honestly, this guy taking down everyone without even wearing a shirt, never mind armor, is like, just what is this?
How fast can you run?
Drogon burns innocent children, and this scene alone.
I will let the gods decide my fate. I demand a trial by combat.
Oh my god, when I heard this, I was like, the next few episodes are going to kick off. And this just all cements the laws of gods and men at number 9. Number 8. The Children. Episode 10 of Season 4 starts with Stannis coming to Jon's aid following the aftermath of Episode 9, taking out and capturing both Tormund and Mance Rayder.
Very well then. Take him.
Bran arrives at his little mystical little tree thing, and somehow Brienne manages to take down the Hound in a one-on-one sword battle. Which, may I add, again is choreographed to perfection. We skip back to King's Landing, where Tyrion goes on a mad one, kills Shay, and in such an emotional and powerful scene, executes Tywin on the toilet.
I have always been your son.
This episode was already nearly perfect, but the ending scene with Arya just gives me goosebumps every single time I watch it, because we all know Arya is the best character. Just the vast array of emotions portrayed throughout this entire episode, from Arya to Tyrion to the Hound to Jon to Stannis, leaves it so high up at the number 8 slot. Number 7. Mother's Mercy. Now, this is an episode that doesn't often get any love in these top 10 ranking videos for Game of Thrones episodes, and with that I am actually so surprised. This episode had so much going for it. The episode starts with Stannis' wife ending herself, and I actually remember being so happy that this happened. I see so many people on YouTube with so much love for Stannis, and while he would have made a much better king than Mr. Inbred over here, he burnt his daughter alive, so in my eyes, he isn't much better.
Have you actually read the book?
We get the battle between Stannis and the Boltons, which again, due to budget, we sadly don't get to see much of it, and we hard cut straight to the aftermath with Stannis wounded, and you know, we all know what happens next to Mr. Stannis the Manus Baratheon! Theon kills Miranda, and him and Sansa both jump off Winterfell, which I'm still unsure if they would actually survive this. Like, this is a pretty tall castle. But then again, it's a show about dragons and undead zombie men, so maybe them surviving a 50-foot fall is the least of my concerns. How this episode doesn't get on people's top 10 actually astounds me. It's so good. We get this very heartwarming scene between Jaime and Marcella where she confesses she has always known that Jaime's her father.
Glad that you're my father.
And then, of course, she dies. And then we get to the best part of the episode. Shame. The episode ends with the Night's Watch turning and killing Jon in such an impactful scene.
For the watch.
When I watched it, I think, bar a scene that we will get to further on the list, it is the most shocked I have been at a TV moment ever. I was like, this guy is the main character. Again, you've killed him off. This episode deserves so much more love than it gets, and no one can change my mind that this is 100% deserving of the number 7 spot. Number 6, The Mountain and the Viper. Episode 8 of Season 4 starts with a chaotic sequence of the Wildling army attacking Molestown, and for some reason, Ygritte allows Gilly to leave. Like, I love this episode so much, and it is in number 6 on the list, but why the fuck does Ygritte allow Gilly and baby Sam to live here? Could it be that Gilly has superpowers? I mean, plot armor's always up there. He becomes an even bigger psycho in this episode, where he disobeys his orders to free the Ironborn and decides to flay them all alive!
Fallen out of fashion. Plain. Sad, but true.
Sophie Turner's acting in this scene where she has to lie for Baelish, oh my god.
When Lord Baelish tried to calm her, she struck him.
It is absolutely amazing, and might be her best acting performance in the entire show. Just the way she can lie and deceive all the Vale is outstanding. Jorah gets found out that he's been spying on Dany and gets kicked off her council.
You found in Marine past break of day, I'll have your head thrown into Slaver's Bay.
And the episode ends with, in my opinion, easily one of the top 3 moments in the entire show. This fight between the Mountain and Oberyn is such a shock to the audience. If Oberyn hadn't messed about, and I know he wanted a confession, and I know he slowed down the Manticore venom, but what? Come on, just at least cut the Mountain's arms off, or do something. The ending screams of hilarious sand as the camera pans up to reveal the Prince of Dawn with his head fully smashed in, before cutting to Tywin Lannister to close out the episode.
Gods have made their will known. Tyrion Lannister hereby sentenced to death.
This episode truly deserves the number 6 spot. Number 5. Blackwater. Now this episode is phenomenal for a lot of reasons.
Fuck the King's Guard. Fuck the city. Fuck the king.
But really what shines through are some great scenes depicting character growth and dialogue, especially between both Cersei and Sansa.
This is Stannis Baratheon. I'd have a better chance of seducing his horse.
And Joffrey and the Hound.
The Blackwater's on fire.
Dog, I command you to go back out there and fight!
Where Jack Gleeson's acting is on fire as always. As well as the spectacular battle scene between Stannis' army and the defending forces at King's Landing, we are also treated to some great Tyrion scenes to commence the battle, in which he uses wildfire to, you know. And this speech from Tyrion, for me, cemented him as one of the best characters in the show.
There's our brave men knocking at our door. Let's go kill them!
And we can't leave out this hilarious scene from Sansa. Oh.
Any man dies with a clean sword, I'll his fucking corpse!
Just before him turning and running away from the fight.
The battle is over. We have won.
Number 4. Battle of the Bastards. Although this episode is after season 5, where the books end and David and Dan had basically free reign to do whatever they wanted and to fuck the show up in whatever way they wanted to.
To be honest, I never really cared much for them. Innocent or otherwise.
This episode and the battle between Jon Snow and Ramsay Bolton was absolutely amazing. Honestly, although there were some parts that made no sense, this fight overall was the best house versus house battle in Game of Thrones. The satisfaction and I'm guessing all of you guys felt when Ramsay ultimately got eaten by dogs was bigger than anything in this show. And I got to watch this guy, this little inbred, choke to death on telly. The choreography in this fight, like the rest of the show, was perfect. And just the chemistry between Jon and Tormund was hilarious. And honestly, another twist in which Jon and crew would have actually lost the battle if it wasn't for Sansa and, you know, this evil thing riding to their rescue. All of this adds up to Battle of the Bastards being number 4. Number 3, Winds of Winter. Episode 10 of Season 6 has so much going for it. Like, because it's season 6, some things don't make sense in the episode, but it's probably the most fun I've had in a single episode of this show. To be honest, this opening scene alone, with the tense music accompanying, is enough to position it in the top 10, because it erases this boring, horrible, annoying character from my screen. Honestly, the High Sparrow should never have existed. King Useless the First dies. Tyrion becomes Hand of the King.
Tyrion Lannister. I name you Hand of the Queen.
And Walder Frey gets what he deserves from Arya in one of the most satisfying payoffs in the show. This episode ends with 3 of the biggest cliffhangers that Game of Thrones has ever offered. Jon Snow is now a Targaryen, and also the King of the North. Cersei is on the Iron Throne. And Dany is finally leaving Meereen to do something after 4 seasons. Winds of Winter, in my opinion, definitely deserves to be number 3 on the list, but we can still get better. Number 2. The Reigns of Castamere. In Game of Thrones, you know episode 9 of the season will always be crazy. And no episode gets more crazy than episode 9 of season 3. We start with the wedding of Edna Tully and some random ass Frey girl. This episode, I felt, flows so much more freely, cutting between each group of people, but it also brings the families together in a way, due to Arya arriving at the Red Wedding and Bran nearly reuniting with Jon. Jorah Grey Worm and Dario I go fight the slavers in Meereen, which wasn't as I expected, as we didn't get to see as much of the actual fighting as I hoped. But oh my god, the last 15 minutes of this episode is what concretes it in the top 2 episodes of the show. We all know about the Red Wedding and how it ended, but can I just touch on the acting in this episode from Richard Madden, but most of all Michelle Fairley? Just that scream. Jesus Christ, what an incredible performance. And I was actually sad that that is the last time we got to saw them. When I said earlier about Jon being the biggest shock, this was definitely bigger. Like Eddard in season 1, once again they had killed off the main characters of the show, and I loved David and Dan for doing this.
Mother, the Lannisters send their regards.
This episode is truly a perfect 10 out of 10 episode of television, and it would be number 1 on the list if it wasn't for number 1, The Watchers on the Wall. Episode 9 of Season 4 was just one massive battle between the Wildlings and the Night's Watch, which shortly became one of the highest rated episodes of the show, and my personal overall favourite. I'm still unsure how the Night's Watch stood any chance in defeating an army of 100,000 men with a total of 120, but they did do a pretty good job. The initial scenes of the Wildling army climbing the wall against all the Watch's defences, including this thing. Like, how the actual fuck do you survive this? We get amazing speeches from Sir Alistair before leading Castle Black into battle.
Me now! Now with me!
I think it would have maybe been better if Alistair here, instead of being executed in season 6, gave the leadership role to Jon after he agreed with that they should have blocked the gate, and went out fighting for his cause, and then being remembered as another protector that died for the Watch, instead of being hung as a traitor to the realm. They handled death so well in this episode, with Gren dying at the gates by being taken out by a giant, and Ygritte dying in Jon's arms in such an emotional scene.
You know nothing, Jon Snow.
I'm one of those people that hoped for this couple to work out because they had some of the best chemistry in the show. Well, of course they did. They got damn married in real life. For me, this episode, although it doesn't include as much as the other episodes in this list, it goes all in on the battle for Castle Black, and oh boy does it pay off. Jon drops his sword and marches north, with the episode ending with him off to talk and potentially fight Mance Rayder. Outstanding performances all around, from of course Kit Harington to Owen Teale to Christopher Hivju, who did an amazing job as playing Tormund. Episode 9 of Season 4 is truly an 100 out of 10 episode in my opinion, and is well deserving of the #1 slot on this list. Now that is all for our picks of the top 10 Game of Thrones episodes. Did you agree with us? Make sure to comment down below your top 10 episodes and check out this other video where we discuss the 5 fighters who we think could beat Sir Gregor Clegane, aka the Mountain.